for stopping by the channel. This is going to be my recap and review for Real Housewives of New Jersey. This is season 12, episode 2. And it was another good episode. Jersey coming in hot, and I'm enjoying it. So let's get into it. So y'all know before every episode, I like to talk about the drama that comes down my timeline. And we have two things to talk about as it pertains to Miss Jennifer. Miss Jennifer. Y'all know that goes up for her. But this is the first thing. This is actually Jennifer made a statement about, the nose area. Everybody has things to say about the face. Because we was all like, sis. And so this is what she posted on Instagram. It goes, just so you guys know, I was not happy with the way I looked when we were filming this day. The bottom half of my face was still numb and it was hard for me to move because of my chin implant. I got the chin implant on the recommendation of the doctor and she added his name. I immediately regretted it, but there was nothing I could do. Just like all of you, I wasn't happy with the way my nose looked either. When you get plastic surgery, even though you know it's a risk, you assume that you're going to be happy with the results, which I wasn't. It has since settled in nicely, but I do regret it. But what can I do about it? I just have to make the best of it and keep pushing forward. But know that I would never recommend this doctor to anyone. I'm officially done with surgery. So try to be kind while you watch my healing process in more ways than one. It wasn't easy to share any of it. Probably talking about this whole mess with Bill. So then the next thing we're going to talk about is Mr. Big Frank and Miss Jennifer. So as you guys know, we're going to talk about it when we get into the review. That situation that happened with the whole thing with Frank talking about Evan cheating and all that stuff, knowing the girlfriend. This is what Big Frank had to say. And he posted this on his IG. He said, just for clarification, I was and still absolutely, my bad, y'all. Just to clarify, I was and still of absolute position that, and he added, Evan never cheated on Jackie and he added her name. So there is no possibility that I knew of any woman or said anything of that such to anyone. My bad, y'all. Tongue tied. Then Jennifer reposted this in her story. She said, I want all of you to know about this. How would I think to ask Frank these things if it didn't come from him first? Oh, BTW, he admits it in the after show. Hashtag, you can't take it how, that doesn't make sense. She says, hashtag, you can't take it how how honest I am. Sorry, y'all. I showed up there. Vindication coming soon. I didn't believe the rumor or Frank, just to clarify. I don't know if that's gonna get her in hot water with Dolores, because you know how Dolores feel about Frank. But let's get into this review, y'all. The episode opens up where it left off, where we have Marge, Jennifer, and Teresa. And Marge dropped that bomb. So basically, you have Marge saying that's why Bill had an affair with, I guess she said, the office manager. And then Jennifer rebuffs and is like, no, idiot, he had an affair with a sales rep. And then Teresa's like, is that true? Because Teresa is shocked because Jennifer never told her. And Jennifer's like, it happened a really long time ago, almost 10 years ago. We're good. And you just want to mess up like a happy home. So then Margaret walks away and she goes back over there to Melissa and Jackie, and I think Tracy was over there and some other party goers. And they're like, what did you say? And she's like, well, I told her husband had an affair 10 years ago. And Melissa and Jackie are like, what? Like, they're kind of shocked that she let it out, like she said it. Because it seems like Marge has been telling everybody about this affair. That's why I look at Jackie like she's stupid. Because I'm like, if she held on to that, because they said Marge even says she has known it for years. Which means that, like, Jennifer's people didn't know, but the town they live in knows. And everybody, when Marge says when Jennifer's name comes up, the affair comes up. And so everyone kind of knows about it. And I feel like Jackie's stupid because I'm like, if Marge held on to that since 2019, why wouldn't you think her and her gossipy ass husband wouldn't know your tea, sis? Her husband last season was like, women come in my house all the time talking about that stuff. You think I ain't hear it? So I'm like, what? Like, bruh. So Marge is like, and so Melissa is like, she confirmed it, and she was like, yeah. And I honestly don't think the three of them thought Jen was going to be honest or going to cop or admit to the affair. But the thing about people that I think people don't understand is that, like, Jennifer's been real honest. As much as Marge calls Jennifer like a hypocrite and her not being, questions her honesty, Jennifer's been just as honest as Marge. Like, Jennifer has not sugarcoated anything other than this affair, but it's an affair that she ain't tell nobody. Not like nobody, none of her people know. The town may know, but none of her people know. So, and she's also smart that she copped to it already. So, like, we're not playing like, ooh, is Marge telling the truth or is she not? Is Jennifer lying or is she covering for Bill? Like, she legit said, yeah, he did it. And they're like, and we moved forward. So Dolores goes over there, and mind you, production is shady AF because they kept zooming in and giving back like headshots of Dolores's track showing. And I'm not white, clearly, but I don't understand why most white women don't get micro links. Like, I've seen it being done on like Instagram and on YouTube. But I don't know if it's like very costly and then just putting in like the tape tracks is like cheap. But I feel like Dolores makes enough money where her track shouldn't be showing. I also feel like, girl, clip-ins. I mean, I feel like the clip-ins wouldn't have been as noticeable. But this was real noticeable. And they kept doing that. And I thought that was wrong. So like Dolores is trying to have a conversation with Jackie because Dolores is like, what happened? And Jackie's not trying to say it, but she's going about it, in like a roundabout way. But Dolores is caught on and she's like, okay, I understand what you're talking about. So then Bill gets up because, Bill was sitting over there with like Joe Gorga, the pool boy, Louie and them. And he goes to check on Jennifer. And Jennifer's like, I want to go home. I don't want to say sorry bye to Teresa. I want to go home. So everyone's kind of like, oh my God, like she leaving? And she left. And Bill's trying to comfort her. And I know some people were mad that she said sorry to him. And I mean, like, I get it. Like, I don't think she knew what to say. You don't want your spouse to be embarrassed. But like, it happened. And I think that's what she was apologizing for. Maybe for like, she probably felt like he was embarrassed. But I don't really think she knew how to handle it because she looked like a deer caught in headlights. So they leave. But when Bill gets up, Joe, with his Neanderthal ass, decides to be like, I love that man. But his wife, she run her mouth too much, calling my family a crook. And my thing is like, we have examples. Like, we have examples. Like, readily available examples. Like, before last season, there were pictures that, like, people had honestly compiled. Like, it was a thread of, like, pictures that Joe posted of him doing his renovation. And it was somebody else's home. Like, he didn't touch it. Like, it was not even renovated. And they were, like, it was easy for you to tell that, like, he stole somebody's picture. So it's kind of like, and there's so much, like, alleged tea about Joe being a crook. Saying that he, like, lost his parents' home, allegedly. That, like, allegedly, like, he can't go into Home Depot because they say he be doing shady stuff at Home Depot. So I'm kind of like, there's evidence. It may, like, honestly, like that saying, where there's smoke, there's fire, sis. Last season, they were talking about you not paying somebody. So what are you talking about, Joe? Like, and the fact that you couldn't say that when Bill was sitting there, you a punk. You're a punk. So the moment everybody's been waiting for is Joe versus Gia. And I'm not gonna, it was so much going on. But basically, they were all talking at the table. It was the pool boy, Joe, Louie, Teresa, and Gia. The conversation was going because everyone was talking about what just happened between Jennifer and Bill. Then all of a sudden, Joe and Gia start to have a discussion. And Gia basically tells Joe, don't disrespect me. You gonna respect me. I'm not a child. I'm 21 now. That's what he said. She was like, I'm 21 now. I'm sitting at the adults table and I'm drinking my wine. So what's up? And then Joe's whole thing is like, I'm an elder. Check your tone. Like, don't be disrespectful. He gets so worked up that he leaves the table and goes to the front of the house. And he's like, you know what? She looks at me like I'm the devil. Her father's the devil. I'm not the devil. And I said, this man acts like he is in the Sopranos soap opera. Like he trying to get that Emmy or Oscar. So dramatic. So then Louie and the pool boy follow Joe and they're talking to him. And Melissa and Teresa are like, okay, like what's going on? And Melissa was like, Gia, he loves you like you're Antonia. He understands you loves your dad, but then he also doesn't get it at the same time. Like, do you get that? And I was just like, Melissa, shut up, because you're not helping. And then Gia's like, I'll go talk to him. Just get out my, because Melissa was in her face and Gia was like, get out my face. So then Gia gets up and she goes to speak to him. And they have this conversation and it doesn't go anywhere. And then Joe brings up like the grandparents and that like frustrates and piss off Gia. So Gia's like, you know what? I'm not, that's when I walk away from you. So she walks back in the party. We then see Margaret, Dolores, and Jackie sitting at like one of the little tables. And what Dolores said was true. Dolores was like, somebody's going to have to eat, you know, and it's not going to be Gia. It's going to have to be Joe. It's like a lot. She was like, it's like a tough spot to be in, but he's going to have to eat, you know? So Melissa's trying to talk to her and saying, he loves you. Like, can you please go speak to him? And then Joe was like, do you know all the horror, like he's out in the front of the house, like all the horrible things he did to my family. And then they do a flashback to like when they were fighting at the christening, when Joe was like, you love him more than your own son, you know? And when Melissa was on the floor, do you want me to kiss your feet? I'm sorry. Gosh, that's why they get along so well, because she's just as dramatic as him. And then they also show when they actually like fought at that trip. I think they went to like Colorado or Aspen or something. And Joe is just like, their father did all of this. And Gia's like, nah. So then Gia comes back out and they sit down and they have a conversation. And Gia's just like, I'm tired. I am tired. Like, I've been dealing with this. She was like, my dad sent my mom to jail 5 years ago. I'm tired. I'm tired of dealing with this. Like, can we let it go? And they agreed. And she was like, you have your opinions, I have mine. And they hugged and they moved on. But the truth of the matter is, like, everybody's right and everybody's wrong. Joe is right to have the feelings he has about Joe Giudice. Your daddy was trash. Like, let's just call a spade a spade. Your daddy talked to your mother like she was like some trick off the side of the street. He instigated the rift between your grandparents and your uncle. And then he got your mama locked up. So it's like, you can't be that mad at Joe for having such ill will towards your daddy. But I also understand that, like, it comes a point in time where Joe is going to have to let it go. Like, honestly, you won. Like, he's over in the boot. He can't come back over here. Like, and now you have to step up and be there for your nieces the way a father would be, until, like, you know, you have to be there helping Louie navigate with the kids if Teresa and Louie get married or something like that, which I hope she get a prenup if she do marry that man. So it's just kind of like, I get it. I really do. And I get Gia where she's like, man, I'm tired of dealing with this. I'm tired of waking up in the morning and finding out that you talking trash about my daddy. I'm tired of waking up to hear my daddy talking trash about you. Like, if we gonna fight in-house. Don't fight out there. But Gia, I think because she has a good relationship with her father, but even though he is deported, she probably has forgiven him for the things that he's done to her mom and done to the family. Because subsequently, he destroyed y'all nuclear family. Like, got your mama locked up, got your daddy, and now he deported. But it's just kind of like, even though you forgive your dad, that doesn't mean everybody else forgives your father. And I think that might be a hard pill for her to swallow. That, like, we forgive him. Like, me and my sisters forgive him. But, like, the world at large still thinks her dad is trash. And the thing is like, Joe could change. Like, Joe could have changed. Like, he could be over there in Italy and be totally, like, good. Like, he could be a wonderful father, a wonderful, like, ex-husband to Teresa and all of that stuff. But that doesn't mean, like, people will care. That's kind of the thing that sucks. Is like, you could change, but that doesn't mean the people that you hurt or the actions that or the people that you hurt with your actions doesn't mean they have to accept it or believe that you really changed. But I'm glad they figured it out. Next episode, they're gonna have to figure it out with the other one who got out, who be with that mouth. So we're at Jennifer's house. They're having like a early summer party, but it's also like Olivia's birthday, but not birthday party. Her birthday's in January, so I totally understand. Like, it always happens to me. School's always about to start when my birthday happens, so most people don't want to do nothing. And she said her birthday's in January, so she's either a Capricorn like me or an Aquarius. But it's like, it's cold outside, so nobody want to be outside. So they're having this pool party. There was a cute little ice cream truck that they got. Like, the ice cream truck is cute. But we see Teresa, Dolores stop over the house. Side note, I do like the fact that Teresa likes the kids. She was adamant about hugging Olivia at her birthday party, like her birthday, not birthday party. And so they're in the house, and Dolores is like, you know what? Dolores and Teresa feel like what Margaret did was wrong. But, yeah, they feel like it was wrong. But they also want to know the tea. They like, sis, so tell us about what happened, this affair. So, I don't know why I just did that. I don't know why. So, Jackie says the affair happened 10 years ago. She was 9 months pregnant. Her and Bill and the other 3 kids had just moved to New Jersey. She was like, Bill was feeling himself because I guess maybe he was like a new doctor and, you know, he was feeling his zhuzh. And she said she was 10 days before she was supposed to be due. She found like a credit card receipt, and he had like went and got bottle service at some club. Then she found text messages. So she confronted him and was like, do you want a divorce? He said no. She said, do you love her? He said no. And then she was like, the next day she had her son Christian. And she was like, she was so consumed with that she like let it sleep, like let it go. She was like, if he wanted to work it out, I wanted to work it out. And she was like, honestly, what could I do? I was 9 months pregnant with no money. Where the hell was I about to go? And she says, like, now she says she's happy that she stayed and worked it out. But she was just kind of like, you know, we never talked about it. She was like, my parents don't know about it. She was like, I never shared it with my mom, my dad, my siblings, my best friends even. Like, I ate it, I kept it in wraps, and I didn't say nothing about it. And she was like, we moved on from it. So then we end up seeing Margaret and Dolores at this really nice furniture store. And they're talking about what happened. And Margaret basically is like, it feels like Margaret's trying to get like allies to be against Jennifer. And maybe Dolores is going to shift sides, which I wouldn't, like, if I was her, I wouldn't do, because people is angry at her right now. But I understood what she was saying. So Margaret basically is saying, like, Jennifer was looking for all this stuff on Jackie and Evan. Like, you know, you can't be looking and searching for stuff and thinking people ain't going to come to you with your own tea. So basically, Margaret said that Jennifer was looking for tea about the gym that Evan goes to. She'd been calling all of Margaret's girlfriends. Margaret was putting 20 on 10. She also said that she asked Frank about the situation, like asking Frank for information about the girlfriend, because Frank said he like knew Evan had a girlfriend. And I was like, ooh. And Dolores is sitting there like, So Dolores in her confessional is like, I felt bad for Jackie. Not Jackie, I felt bad for Jennifer. But if she is doing all this stuff, how bad can you really feel? Like, you can't be digging in other people's trash and not think people are going to dig in yours. So while that's happening, they also show us a scene of Jennifer and Jackie going to Jennifer's house. And they're talking about the situation. And this is when we found out that Jackie knew about the affair. She said she wasn't going to say nothing because she didn't think it was like something to be thrown out. But she said that Margaret told her months ago. And that's when they showed the reunion, that like she knew back in the reunion. Jackie's like, I'll be a friend to you, you know, so they're trying to work on a friendship now. But like Jennifer's whole thing is like, my kids know now. Like nobody knew, but now I have to explain it to my kids. And like Jennifer said, like, no, like Jackie said, at least when the rumors came up about my man, I could tell my kids it wasn't true. She has to tell her kids it is true that they dad cheated on her. So they do show us a flashback of Frank saying that Jackie was searching for information from him. But I think Frank is full of, like, I feel like, and that's the thing that I feel like, excuse me, we're all like glossing over. When they had poker night that last season, Joe, who's Margaret's man, said that he heard rumblings about the rumors, and even Frank said it. So I'm like, why isn't everyone now trying to act like Jennifer is like such a dubious person because she asking questions when y'all all said y'all knew the rumors? So I just thought that was wild. I really do. I also think that Margaret's reasoning is stupid too, because it's like, you keep saying it's because you like Jennifer's a hypocrite. And I think in Marge's mindset, it's like Jennifer's been going so hard at me while you're like about me cheating on having this affair, but her husband did the same thing. So does she feel that same way about her husband? And I'm like, I get that, but I still don't think that makes Jennifer the hypocrite. I think it explains why Jennifer was projecting onto Margaret, because my thing is like Margaret is very like cavalier about her affair. Like, she's very like, yeah, I did it. And I think for Jennifer, it was like, how dare you be so like boastful about this said affair when I've been on the receiving end of that. I know how your significant other felt to be portrayed that way. Other than that, I just feel like, I don't think she's a hypocrite. Maybe y'all can explain it in the comments below, but I just don't think the girl a hypocrite. Okay, so the final scene of the night is everyone's at Dolores' house. It's cute. Dolores' townhouse is wonderful. Like, the only thing I didn't like was all them stairs. Like, I don't need to be like, because in my mind, I'm like, when I'm tired, I don't want to walk up like 12 flights of stairs. I want to walk into my place, lay on the couch, and be done with it. You know what I mean? But it's nice. Like, I think it's possibly like 3 or 2 levels, but she has a really nice townhome. So she's having the housewarming. They have a spread. Like, it's a spread. It really was too much food for all of them, so I hope they're gonna give production half of that. But it was nice. It looked really nice, and everyone's in there. So Melissa and the ladies, so who's there currently right now is Margaret, Jackie, Margaret. So it's Melissa, Margaret, Jackie, Tracy, Caroline, who is Dolores' friend, and I think that's it. And they're waiting on Jennifer and Teresa. And this is my thing, y'all. I'm surprised that Caroline isn't getting the same treatment as Tracy, because I feel like Caroline could give us more. We're on episode 2, and like I'm not feeling Miss Tracy. I'm not. And I don't know, and you know what, maybe it's because I thought she was going to give us more, because I remember reading an article about how she said her and Teresa had beef. So I'm like, okay, I don't see the beef. The beefage said beef. So I'm just kind of like, oh, okay. It might also be like she doesn't fit the part. Like, she just looks like an extra. Whereas Caroline looked like she was meant to be in that group. Like, it's like Caroline gives us that oomph. Tracy seems like a dud. So they're asking Dolores, like, okay, how are you and David? How does David feel about about you staying here, and how are you able to afford all these homes? Well, we find out that Dolores's home is like paid for. Like she owns her home, so she doesn't have a mortgage. I said mortgage. I don't know why I made this. She doesn't have a mortgage, so she doesn't have to like pay for any like that's why she's able to have all these homes, because she doesn't have to pay that mortgage at the house that they're renovating. And honestly, I feel like she should just stay at the townhome with her kids. But then again, all them dogs, ugh, that's too many dogs in that small of a space, so they probably do need a home. So they asked her about David, and she was like, well, you know, me and David, we rarely see each other, but we're still boyfriend and girlfriend. If you didn't know, now, like, I'm about to tell you now, you know, Dolores got a new man. Her and David broke up, and she seems a lot more happier with this new guy. He gives Guido vibes. He really does. He looks like he could be Frank, like Frank 3.0 or 2.0. But I think the honest, my thing is, like, I'm happy for Dolores. It doesn't seem like David wanted to commit to Dolores. And I think that sucks, because I feel like they probably could have vibed really well with one another. But it just seems like he just wants to live the bachelor life, which is nothing's wrong with that. But then I don't feel like you could attach yourself to somebody that wants more than that. You know what I mean? So next thing you know, Jackie gets there. Jackie looked like she about to have a meltdown. She looked like she about to cry. I commend her for coming. I wouldn't come. Y'all, the way the pettiness in me would have had, like, two things would have happened if I was Jennifer. Did I say Jackie? Jennifer comes. She looks like she's about to have a meltdown. But the way I would have reacted if I was Jennifer, I either would have fought Margaret, like would have threw a drink in her face and bloop, bloop, you know. That lets y'all know I don't be fighting, because these hands. Or I would have brung Danielle, because you know Margaret can't stand Danielle, but I would have brung Danielle and rubbed it in her face. It would have been like, if I can't yank your ponytail, Danielle Stobbs will. So I was just like, Jennifer looked like she was about to have a breakdown. So Jackie walks over there, and I was annoyed that Melissa was like, why is she about to cry? Melissa, shut the hell up. Like, y'all just outed a 10-year-old affair that, like, an affair that happened 10 years ago that, like, she is now, like, dealing with because she stuffed it under the rug for so long. So she's sitting over there with Jackie. And she's like trying to talk to Jackie, and Jackie's like, you're just overwhelmed. And she was like, yeah. And then Dolores is mad, because Dolores is looking at her like, don't you be weak. Like, all the energy Dolores was really giving Jennifer was like, don't be weak in front of these hoes. Like, do not be weak. Like, if you gonna cry about it in your car or cry about it in the bathroom. But don't be weak. And like, and Dolores is like, girl, let it go. Stop crying. And I was like, dang, Dolores, that was harsh. But I think Dolores is having all of these emotions mainly because Margaret told her that, like, girl, you was snooping for information and tea. So, you know, these things happen. When you go looking for trouble, you find it. So then what really blew me was, like, Margaret over here talking about, like, why are you crying? And I'm looking at Margaret like, bitch, you outed a rumor, like, you outed her affair. Why would she not be crying? Like, what did, like, and I was with Jennifer when Jennifer was like, we go back and forth. So stop acting like I just be attacking you just to be attacking you. Because Margaret's whole thing was like, you're very hypocritical. I guess, but it's like, Margaret, don't act like you don't be going back and forth with me. Like, you don't start stuff with me and I come at you, and I don't start stuff with you and you come at me. That's the only thing I don't like about the discourse about this whole situation, is like, people are acting like Margaret is a victim or Jennifer is a victim. Jennifer is a victim in the sense of, like, this was outed and exposed and she never thought it was going to come to light. But Jennifer has done things. As much as I go up for Jennifer, she has done things. Same with Margaret. So Margaret got to stop acting like she's some victim because this lady called you and your mama a whore. Y'all did whore things. Like, it is what it is. So then and then that's the thing. Margaret does not like the fact that Jackie and Jennifer are becoming friends. And I peeped it with that little move she did when she was sitting down. like I said, Margaret does not like the fact that Jackie and Jennifer are getting close, because you can tell that Melissa, Jackie, and Jennifer are in an alliance. Like they're like, the three of us ride strong. This clique is ride or die for life. Because Margaret sits down and she was like, well, you were looking up stuff about Jackie. And she said it loud enough so Jackie could hear. So then Jackie walks over and she's like, what are you talking about? And Jennifer's like, wait. Like, she was like, my husband and Frank went out. Frank said that he knew the woman, or knew said woman that everyone was assuming was the guy that Evan was cheating on Jackie with. I was curious, so I asked him to give me more information. And then she said about me contacting all these women over in wherever I guess the place where the gym is. She said, no, I contacted my friend who lives there. That was one person. So like I said, Margaret was putting 20 on 10. And then Jackie gets mad and she's like, Jennifer, my husband didn't do anything. Your husband is the only one that's done things. And I saw, like, you could see a slight smirk on Margaret's face that she was like, I got you. So then everybody comes and sits down, and Jennifer's breaking down. She was like, my kids are the ones that are being affected. And that's when Margaret made that resilient comment, that kids are resilient, that pissed off a lot of people. And this is my thing. Kids are resilient, but they shouldn't have to be. Like, kids should be able to be fragile and things of that nature and be protected by the adults that are, like, supposed to protect them. The truth be told, Margaret, you can't say kids are resilient when you wrote a whole book and talked about it last year, or last season, how badly your mom messed you up with the way she brung you up. So how resilient are kids if you add, like, a lady in her 40s or 50s, I think she in her 50s, is still talking about it and breaking down about how hard her upbringing was? You're also the same person who is still fighting or still yearning for a relationship with your stepkids who don't want nothing to do with you after you cheated on their father. So are they resilient? Like, are they? Like, I didn't think that was a good equivalent. And then everyone that's like is sitting around and they're like, we love your kids. And Jennifer's like, no, you don't. No, you don't. And then she's like, and then I think Dolores said something about, like, why are you crying? And she was like, you think, and then Jennifer's like, you think I'm weak for crying? I'm strong for crying. And I said, go up, sis. And so she's like, I don't want to talk about this no more. And Dolores just looks disgusted. You got her, like, you have, like, everyone's like, calming down. Margaret's like, she wants to continue this conversation, but everyone's too emotional. And I'm like, it's weird because I don't get why Margaret wants to have this conversation, because if it were me and I dropped this bomb on somebody and exposed something in their past that they thought would never see the light of day, I would always be on ready for them to come back with just as much vitriol and venom towards me. Like, I think this is going to backfire on Margaret only because, like, somebody is going to find some. It may not be Jennifer, but a lot of the fans are angry with her. I'm not, but a lot of people are angry with, and somebody going to find something salacious and throw it in her face. So she need to be careful, because this constant asking Jennifer, like, her asking, like, why are you crying? Like, bitch, you know why I'm crying. Like, you exposed something that I never thought was going to come to light and that I've never dealt with. So if I'm having a meltdown, congratulations to you, because you won that, because that's what you did to me. But just know, when I get back up, I'm going to slit your throat. That's how I would be. That's honestly how I would be. I would be like, you may see me breaking down now, but come next week, stay on guard, because I'm coming for your neck. So Teresa finally shows up because she late. She looked good in that yellow dress, by the way. And, like, everyone's trying to, like, semi-console Jennifer. Like, Melissa trying to give Jennifer wine. Jennifer like, I don't want that. Jackie's like, I forgive you. Like, we're going to move forward. And then Teresa and Dolores are having a conversation. And Dolores is catching Teresa up on everything. And Teresa's like, girl, what she did was wrong. And then here comes Teresa's such a hypocrite, yo. Because Teresa doesn't think that what she did to what she did to Jackie at Evan's birthday party was wrong. But she was like, how come everyone's so cool what Margaret did? And everyone's like, well, she went straight to Jennifer. And I'm like, Teresa, you were wrong. Like, you were wrong. Even though it was a rumor and you didn't believe it, but you were still wrong and you were messy for what you did, and you should take ownership of that. But Teresa's not going to take ownership of that because Teresa don't have accountability. It's on brand, though, because Teresa, since season 1, Teresa has never taken accountability for the messed up things she has done to people. She just apologizes or half-ass apologize, and then she move on and lets you know, I don't care about that no more. If you want to keep being... Teresa's very much like, if you want to be hurt by that, you be hurt by that, but I don't care no more. So Margaret pipes up and she's like, well, Jennifer's a hypocrite. Like, her husband cheated, and then Jennifer's like, you know what? I can't deal with this no more. And she leaves. She legitimately, like, she walks out there, like, she leaves Dolores' party. She gets in the car and she go home. And, like, I just find it funny that everyone's like, you know, people who act like everyone's like, well, if you act like your life is perfect, you can't be like, those are the ones that always have skeletons and their life isn't so perfect. And I'm like, all of y'all do that. Melissa does that with, like, her husband being a crook, allegedly. Dolores did it with David. Like, you act like you and David were great, but we could all tell that David don't pay you no mind. He'd rather stay at the hospital and deal with patients than you. Teresa acting like Louis is better than sliced bread and she just met the man. Jackie with her situation where, like, I don't know if Jackie and if Evan has ever cheated on Jackie, but, like, it's something in there that feels very fraudulent. And then you have Margaret. Like, Margaret acts like because she's so honest and so upfront about all the skeletons in her life, that her life is perfect. And we can tell it's not. Like, if it was, you wouldn't take the time out to do all of this to Jennifer. But then again, it's entertainment. Like, that's how you keep the show going. But yeah, y'all, that is it. That is all. Remember to be bravely authentic. And drop down in the comments below and let me know y'all thoughts. And I'm out, y'all.